Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy to have you here with me. Thank you so much for joining me. We're talking to Kim, we're reading newspapers, we're looking at the smiling actresses and actors in the posters here in this lorry. And look at that suspension geometry over there. That's something, actually. I don't... That's really cool, actually. Anyway, who do you think is behind this? I'm gonna ask him. It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. He's bad news. Kim removes his glasses and polishes them with a handkerchief. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved. Lieutenant Kitsuragi, says our volition, is a brave man for saying Madre's name without the winces and whispers that usually accompany it. I'm gonna return the stack of papers under the seat. The lieutenant nods. Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick these up later. The stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie star looks slightly The movie stars look silently by, and the pull-out box has a rubber handle, worn from years of use. You close the rusty old lorry door. Great, I think we got everything. A word, detective? He steps away from the lorry. Before we return to Joyce? Yeah, we're not returning to Joyce right away. I need to level up. Please level me up. Report back to Joyce. And confront Hardy Boys about drug trade. I probably want to go to the Hardy Boys before. Kim.
All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep.
Yeah, it seems like something police would do. What do you think of all this, Kim? Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. It looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net. This means it's well-funded, says our logic. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it. Technology like the radio, specifically. I'm not sure what the ULAN frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. And frequency bleed is you probably know what it is if you ever used an old radio, where basically you get two stations at the same time if they're close to each other. But the point is here is amateur shortwave radio is used. Frequency bleed is very important in trying to hunt for stations and for like pirate stations and all that sort of stuff. I have a friend whose uncle actually still has a shortwave radio thingy. Not shortwave. I'm saying shortwave, but I think it's like amateur slow frequency or something, and it's just super illegal. Because, you know, it's not super illegal, I suppose. Well, maybe it is super illegal. I don't know who goes to prison because of these and how many years they get. But it's illegal because if you have radio frequencies in the air, it needs to be according to the legislations, because there's legislations about this sort of stuff. And if it's outside the public bands, then you can't have them. Like, for example, the police has certain radio frequencies, and it is lower than normal radio. And if you can have a radio that does that. It's actually, you can just make it yourself. It's not that difficult. Radios are super easy to make if you know soldering and have a multimeter. It just can make anything. But it's still illegal to have those because you know the law is the law, I suppose, and that's what illegal means. It doesn't mean that it's impossible to get. It just means that you shouldn't have them unless you want to be outside of the law. But the point is, the frequency bleed is very important in if you're a cop, I suppose, in trying to get into these people's frequencies. And of course, if it's digitally transmitted, you can just jam it, or not jam it, I guess encrypt it is the word. But you can also speak in code, which is a type of encryption as well. He says, oh, and the maps we found, they reveal the geographical extent of the operation. It looks like they have used abandoned tunnels and access roads to stay hidden. This is useful info. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy Boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for. Our esprit de corps translates, the probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find. It was indeed. Klaje might have been right about Ruby. She looks she looks an awful lot like one of the poster girls in the cabin. Huh. Did she? We didn't know that. Because our character didn't tell us this. Oh, maybe that's what the longing was for. And my noticing of the different use of the use of different words was lost because it's still the same. It's specifically the same person. Perhaps you're right, says Kim. He stops to find. This is one connection I find a little dubious, to be honest. I prefer not to profile people's emotions. Perhaps it's because I'm not very good at it. But still, actually, he's not bad at it at all. And also, says our empathy. Yeah, he's not bad at it at all. But also, it could be somebody else other than Clash, and just somebody an actress that looks like Clash, and Ruby just had a crush on Clash because maybe she had a crush on the actress, and it was like similar looking people. That I don't know. Our rhetoric says he just doesn't like flimsy connections, especially of this kind. Yeah, I'm still gonna talk to Clash though. She's still up there, so it's sort of interesting. So it turns out this is connected to the Union. Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically, but don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them to other ends, as extra ammunition. Will the RCM open an investigation into this? We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we're done for the day, I'll call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into this. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation. Sometime later, when we're done here, we do not want to get caught in that. He stops to think. What are you thinking? The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean, especially if the Madre grouping is involved. And I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. Corruption? Mm-hmm. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Okay. Debrief over? Debrief over. He nods. After you. Huh. We should probably talk to this guy. Well, this is sort of more simple than I was expecting, to be honest, in regards to his situation.
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Don't worry. What we do doesn't really have anything to do with who we are. Especially not what we are forced to do. I mean, what we do is a reflection of who we are, or can be a reflection of who we are. It's kind of complicated. There's a word for it. Actually, there's a phrasing for what I'm trying to say. I'm going to Clash, by the way. There's a phrasing to what I'm trying to say. I first heard of or read the concept in a strip from Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes is a very peculiar comic strip. There's this one, he just hates taking baths. There's this one strip where he's just complaining about not wanting to take a bath, and his mom forces him to take a bath, and then at the end, his last line is a philosophical sort of not mantra, but sort of the philosophical take that I'm trying to evoke here. And he says, the things I think it's something to the extent of the things I'm forced to do have no impact on my morality or something like that. And I did read into that particular notion once. It's been a while. And it is like a whole thing. The distinction between our actions and our morality is important to delineate, but I'm not well versed enough to know anything about that, or to talk about it.
I was just thinking, what a nice day for questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Let's get back to those lies I told you told. Lies I. Let's talk about you and Ruby. Yeah, but there's nothing here. And time passes when we're talking here, so we just wasted time. Did you notice? Time passing. I don't know how long it has passed, but we didn't quick save or anything, so I suppose such is life. Can we hurry it up, please? I wish it wasn't a double click for the running, because I never know. Never know if I'm double clicking or not. Even though it's super simple, it's just that for me it doesn't work quite as well. Because I'm trained to know that if you double click, but the clicks are not in the same place, then it's not taken as a double click. But this game actually does take that as a double click, so it's good in that regard. But it's just anyway. Hardy Boys.
It's you again. What is it?
Guess what? I've connected you to the local drug trade. Like hell you have. He leans back, unruffled. There's no local drug trade. This place is as clean as a rifle. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies who clean your streets are in... Wait. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies how clean your streets are in Precinct 41 Kilos. Well, we'll do that. In the meantime, he points to the south. Kim does. Did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for drugs from Terminal B to Jamrock? The person driving it was present at the hanging. It was one of you. We've connected the footprints. He taps on his notebook and then turns to you. Detective, do you want to deliver the coup de grace? No, says our suggestion. The thunder is his. Leave it to the lieutenant. That's a good point, actually. No, do the honor. You've earned it. Thank you, Kim says and turns to face the men. You're right, Titus. There's no local drug trade because it's all controlled by you. You're the drug trade. That's a mighty interesting theory. He rubs his jaw, smiling. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. A big, strong state-run monopoly would outcompete the runs on the street. Yeah, man, says Eugene. Theoretically, that's what you would do to get rid of the gangs, the dealers, even some of the junkies. You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy man to run such a monopoly. He grins. For the good of the community, of course. Interesting options here. Except for this one. These two are interesting because they're actually... Let's read them. The first one is, this is disgusting. You're admitting to profiting off of poisoning your own people. The second one is, good idea. People are always going to do drugs. At least this way you have some control over it. Those are true. Both of those. But that's the problem. Is that this one is true. That he's profiting off of it. Although we don't know if he's profiting off of it. We don't know if drugs actually cost money. What if he actually just distributes drugs to the people who want and need the drugs out here? For all I know, that's what he does. But then there's the third line. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. I know for a fact there's still plenty of drugs out there. Oh. Do we know that for a fact? That sort of would bring his argument down. Let's go with that. No, there aren't. Some little shit and his dad are doing speed. Boo fucking who, the stuff's probably from Jamrock. Whatever you've seen is peanuts, says Eugene. Look at the big picture, man. The place is a paradise, and all thanks to Hardy Boys. Theoretically, of course. We're just talking politics here. My answer to your drug accusation is, how dare you? Go fuck yourself. And what about this Ruby? Is she the 8th Hardy who runs this thing for you? You sure do love long walks through Theory Town, don't you? The big guy asks, straightening his cap. Well, I'm thirsty now. Thirsty for beer. Got any last theoretical questions, cop? He's practically saying yes. A yes to everything you said. I'm gonna present a solid... I now can present a solid theory about how Ruby could have done it. And I couldn't before. We almost are leveling up. Our logic is very good right now. You gotta give me this game. You absolutely gotta give me this. Actually, I don't know if I don't know if what the there we go. We got extra logic there. I don't know what our tally is at the moment. in terms of, you know, if we have missed a lot of dice rolls or not.
It's you again. What is it?
I'm gonna present a solid theory about why Ruby could have done it, or could have, I suppose, and 83% chance to hit. It's the hit chance. Let's do it. That was a very high roll, so it's good. A sudden flash of lightning in your neocortex. The hostel cafeteria is lit by its eerie blaze. Floor plans, bullet trajectories, webs of human emotion all channeled into a single thought. Why are you so sure Ruby didn't off him? So that's what you were squinting at. He looks at you. You were trying to come up with a theory, weren't you? That she did it? Yeah, he was cobbling together shit so he could put her away. It's RCM 101, says Elaine. Well, let old Titus set your mind at ease then. She didn't do it. She was here all night. The lieutenant opens his notebooks. Sunday night, 11:30 to midnight, or actually 15 minutes past midnight, a quarter past midnight. She was here all the time? Yeah. Oh, this is Eugene. Yeah, with us, drinking. Near the stage there. He points to the karaoke stage. She didn't go to the toilet? No. In the whole 45-minute window, she was with you all the time. Alright. She took a fucking leak, okay? For one moment. Maybe went out too. She has an operation to run from her lorry. He points to the intersection. We're not getting into what that operation is again, cop. That's probably for the best, says our suggestion. Don't break your stride now. And just cause she was gone for 5 minutes doesn't mean she magically got to the roof and shot him. He taps on his temple. I've been through this. It's not plausible. Alright, says our logic. We're in. We got Ruby unaccounted for sometime during the window. This was crucial. Now let's place her on that roof. You got his attention, says our suggestion. Now don't ruin it by making weird claims. Remember, you can still mess this up. Thank you, suggestion. Very good. You do agree the shot came from the roof, right? Okay, that's one option. Ruby could have gotten to the roof from somewhere inside the whirling. That's another option. A skilled Sambo artist could have climbed over. No. Have you noticed the winch out back? Nope. Let's go with this one. Ruby could have gotten to the roof from somewhere inside the whirling. Nah, the only way up there is through Clash's room. How much do you guys know about this place? We've only been drinking here for what, 6 years? He looks around. How much do we know? Been thinking of getting whirling in rags tatted on my ass, boss, says Elaine. Tatted. Is that a typo, or do actually people say that instead of tattooed? Because that doesn't sound right to me. Titus says, there you go. Tatted on his arse. We know the place. There's a locked door in the kitchen and another on the roof. Ever been through those? No, but that doesn't prove anything. No, it does, actually. It proves that you have not gone through it. That was my point all along, so there you go. It's just 2 doors, says Eugene. We're not giving you Ruby for that. She's one of us. What if those 2 doors are connected, Eugene? Says Kim. Is that your name, Eugene? The lieutenant leans closer. If they're connected, she could have gone to the kitchen, gone up, shot him on the roof, then come down, all in 5 minutes. How about that? Yeah, she could have. This is one long shot. He shakes his head, but the look in his eyes shows interest. So you do agree the shot came from the roof, right? Why not? You can't draw a straight line into Clash's window from any other surrounding buildings. Not from what I know about Martinez. Maybe from the coast, but like I said, I've been too busy dealing with you idiots, so no. He shakes his head. I don't think it was a sniper. It was close up. Have you noticed the winch out back on the outer wall of the whirling? Alright, I'll play along. Those 2 doors of yours, the winch connects them with some kind of dumbwaiter. What winch? Where's the winch? I don't actually remember the winch, but I do know what a dumbwaiter is. It's one of those tiny elevators that you can use to transport food and other things between different floors without actually transporting people. On the side of the building, E. You can see it from the arbor. He points to his eyeballs. You want to be a lieutenant? You gotta keep your eyes peeled. I've seen the winch, says Eugene. Fuck off, man, says Elaine. Well, have we firmly established Ruby could have had access to the roof where the man was shot? Firmly? He shakes his head. Try shit on a stick. All you've established is a possible route to the roof that you haven't found. And even then, a route that doesn't put that bullet in the merc's head. A gun that does that, and Ruby doesn't carry one. Phase number 2, says our logic. Murder weapon. Get a gun in her hand. If not that, then at least a shadow of a doubt in the shape of a gun. Our rhetoric says, just don't contradict yourself. If it doesn't sound like Ruby did it, maybe keep it to yourself. I've analyzed the bullet that killed him. It was jacketed. So, Eugene shrugs and looks at you. So it had to come from a breech-loading rifle. Military grade. Titus turns to you. Not even you militia monkeys have those. He doesn't wait for a response. This goes against your short-range theory. If the murder weapon was militia grade, how did Ruby get it? Just because it's rare doesn't mean you can't get it. Cop, that's exactly what it means. That wasn't strong, says our logic. I've already established Ruby's running drugs. She could have smuggled guns too. Goddamn, that's just about your favorite topic, isn't it? Titus slaps his thigh. Every fucking 5 seconds. You were warned not to bring it up, says our suggestion. Your best shot here is to just back out of it. Thanks, suggestion. And shut up about your I told you so nonsense. I will punch you. Fine, Titus, I'm not getting into it. If it touches on your precious business. Okay, cop, she's got connections. He shakes his head slowly. I can see how she could have access to a gun. That still doesn't mean she did it. That's all you needed. Doubt, says our logic. There are weapons like this just lying around in Martinez. I'm gonna show him the antique rifle. That looks antique. A Belle Grand Grave. He takes the gun, inspects it, and hands it back to you. It's inoperable. Where'd you get it? There's a cellar under the bookshop. It was hidden there, with others just like it. 20, maybe 30 rifles, Titus, says Kim. Also broken, but still, there were too many. And there must be other caches, too. God damn it, we need to close that dump down for good, says Eugene. Titus nods to it. It's a goddamn breech-loader, too. Find one that works and you got a military-grade weapon that should jacketed ammunition. He shakes his head. He sees it, says our logic. This is coming together. He must. Our visual calculus says, time to really close the deal. Show them the bullet. Yeah, I did that already, actually. I'm gonna show him the bullet. This is the bullet that did it. 4.46 millimeter. The Belle Mangrave uses the same caliber. Glenn, the blonde man, looks at the mushroomed Deathbringer in the evidence bag and says, yeah, the bitch you jacketed all right. 4 millimeter too? Wow, says Fat Angus. Well, goddamn. Titus' eyes follows the evidence bag back in your pocket. It's not proof, but it's a possible murder weapon. Close to her. Too damn close. He squints. You have been thorough. I'll give you that. I didn't say I'd prove she had the murder weapon, just that we need to find her. All right, he nods. Keep talking. I'm getting a bit curious about some things myself. T, says Glenn. We're not seriously considering it, are we? He almost gets up from his seat. Ruby wouldn't do this. Why would she do something like this? Phase 3, logic says, motive. The last component. Our suggestion says, the big one. Get this and they'll give her to you. Remember, don't piss him off. That never works. Oh boy. We're gonna piss him off, aren't we? Let's see. It's not why did she kill him. That's not the question. It's why did she organize the cover-up? I don't think that is a pissing him off, although for all I know it is. Clage told me some pretty interesting things about Ruby. That's another option. Maybe it's all part of a leadership challenge against you, Titus. That would probably, if there is anything here that pisses him off, that probably is it. When Clashy came downstairs, Ruby appeared to know that something was wrong. Let's say that. Nah, man, that's just Ruby. She's got shit under control, the man explains. Elaine does. That's her old thing. That's why she's so good. Plus, man, says Eugene, it's like female intuition, you know. Women talk to women, he peeks at Titus, which is sort of why we need someone on the team who they talk to. Female intuition, huh? I think that's just you being dumb, Eugene. Although female intuition is a popular... It's not as much anymore as in my sparse knowledge. But me growing up, I kept hearing this whole thing about women having a sixth sense and whatnot, and it's just that, you know, men are not cued into the things that women have to be cued into to be able to make it in a world dominated by men, basically, and that tends to make them know stuff and then that men just don't have to know. And, you know stuff as in, you know, how to spot people's motives and all that sort of stuff. At least that's my take on it, anyway. We'll see. Roll my eyes. Female intuition, that's what it was. You're right, Eugene. Oh, that's interesting. Let's go with that, actually. Yeah, exactly. Why not, man? He says. Wishful thinking has no place in a police investigation, says Kim. The lieutenant tells Eugene, his voice mild but firm. Mild but firm. Oh, Kim. Anyway, that's going to be that for today. We have other things to talk about to them, but we don't have time for the day. So, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.